I'm 75 years old, and there are 5 things sitting in many kitchens right now that slowly steal years from your life. The strange part is that most of them were sold to you with words like healthy, light, or heart-friendly printed right on the package. My name is Arthur Hale. Longevity runs in my family. My father lived to 92. My grandfather made it to 95. None of them counted calories. None of them followed trendy diets or listened to commercials telling them what they should eat. They simply ate food that came from farms, gardens, and local markets. Simple meals, real ingredients. Nothing complicated, but I had a close friend named George. We grew up on the same street, played baseball together as kids, and spent most of our adult lives in the same town. Same church, same diners, same barbershop conversations every Saturday morning. But there was one big difference between us. Our kitchens were completely different. George trusted the new food products that kept appearing in grocery stores, the ones advertised on television, the ones promising convenience and better health. I trusted the way my father cooked. George passed away years ago. I'm still here, still cooking my own breakfast most mornings, still taking walks around the block. At his funeral, I promised myself something. I would never again be careless about what I put into my body. And when I think about the difference between our lives, it often comes down to 5 things he ate regularly that I eventually stopped bringing into my kitchen. Now, I'm not a doctor. I can't claim that what worked for me will work for everyone. But after 75 years of watching how food affects people, I've learned a few things that might make you think twice the next time you open your refrigerator. Let's start with the first one. 1. Margarine, the fake butter. Back in the 60s and 70s, butter suddenly became the villain. We were told butter clogged arteries and damaged the heart. Grocery stores began filling shelves with plastic tubs of bright yellow spread, labeled heart healthy. George switched immediately. He tossed out his butter and replaced it with margarine because the advertisements told him it was the smarter choice. My father refused. He looked at that plastic tub once and said something I never forgot. If it was made in a factory instead of a kitchen, I don't want it on my plate. So we kept cooking with butter, sometimes olive oil, sometimes a little lard like my grandparents used. Nothing fancy, just real food. Years later, researchers began questioning those processed spreads, and suddenly the conversation started shifting again. Turns out the replacement might have been the bigger problem. These days I still cook with butter or olive oil. Nothing else touches my frying pan. 2. Factory bread. This one is everywhere. Walk through any grocery store and you'll see rows of soft bread in. It's plastic bags that can sit on a counter for 2 weeks without changing. When I was a kid, bread didn't behave like that. My grandmother baked bread with 4 ingredients: flour, water, salt, and yeast. That was it. If the loaf lasted more than 2 days, it meant nobody was eating it. Not long ago, I picked up a loaf from a supermarket shelf and turned it around to read the label. There were dozens of ingredients. Preservatives, stabilizers, conditioners, words so long I had trouble pronouncing them. And I thought to myself, if I can't understand what's in this bread, how is my body supposed to handle it? Real bread goes stale quickly. That's normal. That's proof it's real. Bread that stays soft forever usually has something inside keeping it that way. And your stomach notices the difference. Point 3. Frozen microwave dinners. Convenience is a powerful thing. A frozen meal promises dinner in 3 minutes with no dishes and no effort. I understand why people buy them. But I remember the first time I looked closely at one of those boxes. The sodium levels were sky high, and the ingredient list looked like something from a chemistry lab rather than a kitchen. Years ago, when I had the flu, my friend George stocked his freezer with those meals so he wouldn't have to cook. After a week of eating them every night, he looked different. His face was swollen. His hands looked puffy. He complained about feeling tired even after sleeping 1 week. That was enough for me to realize something simple. Food that was cooked in a factory months ago isn't the same as food cooked in your own kitchen. These days, even when I want something quick, I'll scramble eggs or make a sandwich with real ingredients. It takes 10 minutes, but my body feels the difference. 4. Sugary drinks. This one sneaks up on people. Most folks would never sit down and eat 10 spoons of sugar, but they'll drink it without thinking twice. soda, bottled sweet tea, natural fruit juices with more sugar than dessert. George loved sweet drinks. He'd have soda with lunch and bottled tea with dinner. Over the years, I watched his energy fade. His weight slowly crept up. By evening, he was exhausted. It took a doctor's warning for him to finally cut back. When he switched mostly to water and simple tea, his energy improved within weeks. That's when I realized something important. Liquid sugar fools the brain. You don't chew it, so it doesn't feel like food, but your body processes every drop. These days, my kitchen has only a few options: water, coffee, and tea. I brew myself. Nothing else. 5. Processed deli meat. This last one is harder to talk about. For years at church gatherings, everyone brought trays of sandwiches made with sliced deli meat, ham, turkey, bologna. Convenient. Cheap. Easy. But when I looked at those packages in the grocery store, something bothered me. The meat was perfectly shaped, perfectly colored, sealed in plastic, and filled with preservatives. It didn't resemble the animal it supposedly came from. Over time, I noticed something sad. Many of the friends I used to share those meals with began dealing with serious health problems. Heart disease, cancer, chronic illnesses. I'm not claiming those sandwiches caused it, but watching that circle of friends slowly grow smaller made me rethink what I was eating. So I made a personal rule. If I can't recognize the food in its natural form, it probably doesn't belong on my plate. The simple rule I follow now. After all these years, my rule is pretty straightforward. If my grandfather wouldn't recognize it as food, I don't buy it. That single rule quietly removed most processed products from my kitchen. And honestly, life became simpler. My pantry isn't complicated anymore. Eggs, bread I trust, vegetables, butter, olive oil, meat from a butcher. Real food, nothing mysterious. So tonight when you walk into your kitchen, try something simple. Turn one package around and read the ingredient list. Not the front of the label. That's where the marketing lives. Read the back where the truth is. You don't have to change everything overnight. Just start paying attention. After 75 years, that's the biggest lesson I can pass on. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got a kettle whistling in the kitchen and a cup of tea waiting on the porch.